Okay, so what I wanted to show you here was that there are other options here. If we have this yellow one and the brown one, and we choose both of them by shift clicking on them, we can actually ask it to make several ones that are in between. So we can tell it to create, let's say 5 frames. You can decide how many and click OK here. And it's going to change the opacity like a cross dissolve. And it takes the amount of time, I believe it's from this one right here, the first one, and it makes all of these last that long. So for a cross dissolve, that would be actually kind of slow. So before doing that, let me Control Z undo. I'm going to make this 0.1 seconds. Notice it did both of those. Now I'm going to make a tween and add those 5 frames. And then I can go back and make this last the 1 second that it was before, and this final one be the 2 seconds. Sorry. 2 seconds. So let's see what that does now. So it does bam bam, transition, switch back. So a lot of options that are here. If we want this to go back to the beginning one with the transition as well, what we would want to do is duplicate this. So I'm going to ask it for another copy and bring it to the end. And now we can do the same thing in between these two. I'll make this one 0.1 seconds, choose both of those, and ask for a tween. We'll do the same 5 different frames. And then this one is 0.5. If we make this one 0.5, then it should play very much like it did before, but with a transition in between. Let's watch this. Transition. Oh, let's make this one that 2 seconds that we had before. Let's try that again. So for 2 seconds, transition, half a second, and half a second makes 1 second. So let's try exporting this. File, export, save for web legacy. We'll do that same 400 pixels. By clicking down here, it recalculates. This is going to be 308. Remember, the other one was 70. It's because we have all those additional frames that are in between. We've also got some changes here in the colors. It's going to need some of those in-between colors in order to make that transition look right. Let's see what it looks like. Let's go ahead and save that and see. So we've got 14 frames total instead of just those 3. So this will be a little bit different. 14 frames. Maybe we can do that so we know like how big it is. And we can take another look at that. So here's one that now has 14 frames. If we double click on it, it might open with our photos. And you can see that it didn't have any room in that 256 anymore to give us that smooth gradient in there. So the more cross dissolving and stuff that you do, it can reduce the total number of colors. Now if you have all yellow faces, then it will not need the red and the brown and all those in between. So it all depends on what your original frames look like. But you can make some pretty nifty animations that are not really big. This is how I made my animated header on my sample portfolio.